Try not to.
Okay, it seems like we're live. Hello everyone. And we had some tech issues, but we finally see and hear each other. So I really hope that you can see and hear us as well. So it's going to be not the crypto talks, it's going to be a bad crypto talks today because I'm talking.
So bad.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm talking to Joel and Travis. I'm sure everyone knows them because it seems like most of my listeners listen to your show as well. So Joel Com and Travis Wright from the Bad Crypto podcast at the Crypto Talks podcast. So welcome. I'm really happy to have you over.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So, when I mentioned in my listeners group that I'm going to interview you guys, I had this comment saying, wow, the legend marketing guru. Joel, that was about you. So let's talk about, transition from marketing to the crypto world, and why did you decide to do that?
I've always been fascinated with the grabs my curiosity, and in this case, crypto grabbed in spring of 2017. I started going down the rabbit hole, and my conversation turned from politics and current events to crypto, and we just kept going down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
City, metropolis down there.
Yeah.
And we said, hey, let's put on a show.
Okay, I see. So Travis, you converted him actually. You were the one who were guiding him down the rabbit hole, basically.
I don't know that I was guiding him down the rabbit hole intentionally, but we were definitely sharing different forth. We were commiserating around politics for a while, and that got boring. I mean, who wants to be unhappy about politics all the time?
Yeah, you're not my daddy, Travis.
Yeah. So we started talking about. We were chatting about Bitcoin and whatnot, and then we found ant shares, and I sent him over a message about ant shares when it was like $2 a pop before it became Neo, and like, whoa, this looks awesome, and then started figuring out how to do it, and then we just had a conversation. I messaged Joel. I said, how long until we do the Joel and T-Dub crypto show? And he's like, oh, hold on, I'm going to call you. And then we had a call. And
2 days later, we had the first show.
Well, I mean, it's awesome because, there are so many people who talk about writing a book, launching a podcast, or doing something, and you meet them in a year of time and like, oh, what happened? Did you launch that thing? And they're like, well, you know what? I'm still thinking about it. I'm not ready. I'm preparing. I'm researching and all that stuff. So definitely the right way to go is just, do it straight away and experiment and see what happens.
I've never rolled like that. Anytime, if I'm excited about something, and I think Travis is like this too, like let's just do this. We don't need a business plan or anything because it was fun. It wasn't like, hey, this is going to be a huge podcast. It's like, hey,
yeah,
had a recorder going during those conversations because just the discussions themselves could be interesting, and that's all we're really doing. Only now it's professionally produced and it's formatted, and we have an audience that we listen to.
Oh yeah, you have a very big audience actually, and that's great. So definitely, let's talk about that. You've done loads of things online, and you can compare. Do you think just because the topic of the podcast is related to crypto, that organically brings in interest and it's easier to grow the podcast just because of the topic?
Travis, you want that one?
Sure. I think that it was kind of a perfect storm, right? Because, Joel has, 20 plus years of marketing experience. He's written 15 books. I've have 20 plus years of marketing experience. I've written 1/15 the amounts of books that Mr. Joel Com has. But I think it was the perfect storm because, we were gaining interest in it right when the market was getting ready to do these things. And our interest was like, whoa, this is awesome. And the market was like getting ready to go, whoa. And then as the market went, our audience kind of grew, and million downloads since July. Heading towards 4 million because that's how math works. And so, it just blows us away. I mean, we've been able to interview some of the top people in the space. Our 100th episode that just went live yesterday, we interviewed John McAfee.
Yeah.
And that was raw, about as raw as you can get.
Yeah.
The pressure was on.
I didn't feel pressure.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't really feel any pressure, but he was kind of a ball buster. Like, if, we polled our audience, because we always like to do that. We have somebody cool on. We want to poll the audience to see what they think, what would they like us to ask. Mm-hmm. And so we had a big, long list. And so we questions, and I happened to ask him a couple of them that he kind of busted my balls on a little bit. But that's just John McAfee. He's going to do what he does. And it made for a really entertaining and informative interview. And he starts talking about some of the future stuff and what scares him. Was really profound.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I can only imagine that it was very entertaining. Didn't have the time to listen to it yet, but it's in my to listen to list, basically, so I have to catch up.
Everyone who listens to it, it changes their life. They get a couple inches taller. They get really smart. It's pretty good.
They get sexier.
I need those inches, so I'm definitely going to listen to those. So I know many marketing people who rebranded themselves to be the crypto experts because it's a hot topic. So eventually it's very easy to identify how much you know in the sphere, etc. And how are you positioning yourself? Because Joel, you're basically, down the rabbit hole journey, and obviously, you are learning along the way. Is it this, ICO expert or, crypto expert positioning, or what is it?
Dear God, no. We are not experts. That's why one of the reasons it's the Bad Crypto Podcast. And, we didn't wait to become fully educated to start a show. In fact, one of the reasons that I think it resonated with people is that we said, hey, we're just learning this. Come with us. Let's discover this together. We'll tell you what we learn, and we'll get it wrong sometimes, and I'm sure you'll let us know when we get it wrong. But we are not experts, and we are not financial advisors. We're just two dudes talking crypto. We're fascinated by blockchain, by Bitcoin, by the future of digital payments and money and transactions and contracts. And as futurists, as technologists, we just want to be a part of this conversation. Now, it's funny, Annie, that we are getting hired to do things right for publications and to come speak, but we will never position ourselves as experts.
Okay, well, I mean,
Annie, I'm an expert.
You're an expert. Okay. So at this show, we have one expert and two people who are just, flying down the rabbit hole, obviously.
Pretty much.
Which is fun. I mean, I love the roller coaster. It's really interesting. So let's talk about the learning curve. In the beginning, for me personally, it was overwhelming. Like, wow, so many things to learn, and this and that, the blockchain, the Bitcoin, the trading, and the community. It's a different type of community. You get used to the terms and the interaction style and stuff like that. So what was your experience like? Because you've been online for quite a while, and, you are used to big communities, you are used to online interaction. What was different in the crypto sphere, per se?
Let me grab this one first here, because I'm a marketing technologist, and I don't know if you guys have seen the marketing technology landscape put out by Scott Brinker. There's over 5,000 different marketing technologies in the space, right? I think in my years since 2011, I bet I've demoed 1,500. I've chatted with all these different companies, and I've learned what they do. And so what I noticed is that a lot of the different marketing technologists in the space, they were sort of pivoting to one focal point or one area. Some are maybe focusing on AI. Some are focusing on chatbots. Some are focusing on deep learning and machine learning. Some are focusing on big data. Me, I really started, I wrote an article on Huffington, the WikiLeaks, all the craziness that was going on. Everyone was complaining about voter. I was like, well, we need voting to be on the blockchain. Instead of complaining about problems, let's look for solutions. I'm a solution finder. I don't like to complain about things if we can't solve it. And so I said, let's, focus on blockchain. And then my research into more around the blockchain stuff led to more discovery around crypto. which then Joel and I were having conversations around politics and crypto, and it just sort of morphed in that we were like, this is really interesting, and I think it's just a matter of, Joel and I, we love, if we like something, we're going to do research and we're going to learn as much as we can about it. And I think we ramped up. I know I ramp up quicker than most because I might have time to do that. Like I have my own business and whatever. If I want to spend 18 hours in deep research, I can. There's not a boss telling me what I can and cannot do. So I will go down these rabbit holes and do deep research, which I think gives me the liberty to find. And that's kind of how I came up to it.
And then tell the short version to Joel so he saves time.
Yeah, what was the question? I was so tied up in his answer that I forgot the question.
Okay, so the question was, you've been online for quite a while and you know about the community.
Oh, what was different about?
So what is different in the crypto community in specific?
I've been at this 23 years and I have built a number of communities, but this is the first one that I've been a part of where I'm feeling, and I'm going to be honest with this, you could joke at me, but I'm feeling so much love from the community. When I wrote a book on Twitter, it was popular, but it wasn't that I built a community around it. I've got my community on Twitter and on Facebook that are peers and, people that I'm close to, and then there's something about Bad Crypto that is just, it's much bigger. And there's so many people responded so quickly to what this moment, then there's several million copies of iFart out there, right? But that doesn't create community. That's just that's a product. This is intimately involved with this and with our community, and we're very available to them. They come to our Facebook. We have a Bad Crypto Mastermind group on Facebook that you're in. We've got almost 7,000 people, and we engage regularly. I mean, and people come to expect, hey, Travis and Joel are just two regular guys who like being regular.
Yeah, so
I would say this, though. I don't know if you really want a community of millions of people who like farts.
Well, they do. They do. It's a high methane factor.
Yeah, that'd be a smelly group.
Okay, so in that case, we covered the fact that, you're not like experts. Travis, you are. We didn't forget that part. But what about, in terms of research and understanding and all that side, plus the community, you personally, do you trade crypto? Like, how often do you trade? Are you day traders? Are you just hodlers? What is your trading style? What is your approach to crypto personally?
Good, Trev.
I'm sorry, I was distracted.
Oh, she wants to know what your approach is to crypto. I'll share mine. I don't do day trading at all. That to me just I don't have the time or the mentality. I believe in blockchain. I believe. Does it bother me when we have a big, dip or crash like we had recently? Sure. If I would have known that was going to happen, I would have sold. But I'm in it for the long term, so I'm not, Ronnie Moas has been on our show several times, and he says, look, don't invest anything you can't afford to lose, and taking a portion of what you have and putting into crypto, it's either going to take off and be very valuable, or it'll be worth nothing. No. The approach I'm taking to it.
So you have to be prepared for every outcome out there. That's the way it is. Yeah.
Well, I think it fits in with, what are your goals? Right? And if you think about this, so the market goes down. Well, on Thanksgiving Day in the U.S. this past year, that was the first time the cryptocurrency market hit $250 billion. 6 weeks later, it hit $840 billion. Today, it's at $350 billion. It's almost at $350 billion right now. And so there's these big buying opportunities. There's these selling opportunities, and I will do some day trading sometimes, depending, like if the market's a bull run, if I can tell, oh, this looks like this is about to go, boom, then I will. But when you're in a bear market, I think it's more of a hold, unless, you know what, I need to peel some money off or something, because if there's some conversations around some ICO regulations, maybe doing some bank, I'm like, okay, well, you know what, I should probably set some more aside just in case the whole thing crumbles down. But I think it really depends on the nature of the state of the market. If it's going, then there's going to be all kinds of opportunities, because nobody's wrong in a bull run, right? I mean, like, oh, I put a bunch on this, boom, it was up 30% today. I mean, the gains were insane, like in the first part of January. Like, I was watching one of my coins, Dragon Chain, that I bought at 40 cents, go from 40 cents over the course of like just a couple of days up to $5. And I was like, wow, that was unbelievable. And then and this the other day, it was back down to 80 cents. And so I was like, you know what? Sure would have been nice to sell it all at $5, wouldn't it, Travis?
If we only knew.
Right. The gains in your brain were insane.
Yeah,
the gains
if
in
we
my
only
brain
knew.
were insane.
Okay,
Now they're sad.
On the blockchain.
So you mentioned ICOs. Let's talk about that, because, you know, the ICOs are probably very attractive to the companies, to the blockchain companies, especially if the blockchain is already embedded in the business, so they don't have to artificially tokenize whatever they are doing, right? But also at the same time, there are so many ICOs that are just, you know, scams, like pure scams. So, and I know your podcast covers ICOs, and as you mentioned,
Hopefully not the scams.
hopefully not the scams. So, how are you?
That's the worst crypto podcast. It's not ours.
Not the bad one. Yeah. So how do you make due diligence of, you know, how are you choosing? Because I'm sure you feel some responsibility on, you know, the projects that you cover, right? No matter what the advice says that, you know, it's your own risk and you should choose yourself and make due diligence, you still probably do your own, right?
Yeah, I mean, what we like to do is we look for the projects that we think are attempting to do something that is game-changing or super interesting. Mm-hmm. And then we have a team that looks at them and goes, okay, this appears legitimate, right? Mm-hmm. There's some that we turn away and go, no, what's the point of this? Or we just don't want to be attached to that, or this is just an outright scam. And so, we avoid those. But you can be fooled, right? If you're going to be a scammer, you can spend a little bit of money to put together a white paper that looks and appears to be legitimate, and a website that's legitimate, and then you could take the money and run. And you don't know if somebody's, that's their intent, but you can kind of check out the team. That's why, one of the things we ask about often is the team that's involved in an ICO, and you look at who's advising them, and often that's a healthy indicator, at least, one part of determining, is this thing legit?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, sometimes you may end up yourself in an advisory board of an ICO you never heard about. That happens too. So it's, many things happen like that. So do you think this ICO
like Ryan Gosling? Ryan Gosling was an advisor on one of the ICOs that we saw. They actually used Ryan Gosling's face with a different name as one of their advisors.
Yeah, I mean, things happen, right? Although I think now investors have become more educated, and building trust is much harder. It's not like it was about half a year ago or a year ago, so it's becoming much, much harder. Which brings me to the question of the ICO regulations and crypto regulations in general. Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? What is your view? Would you like it to come in a certain scale or not?
Well, I think I have a different opinion on it than most. We've had conversations about this quite a little bit in our mastermind group, and I want to touch base real quick before I get into that about some of the stuff you asked about, in the last, because, there are so many different industries that are going to be disrupted by blockchain. And that's, as a technologist and as a person who's been in marketing for a long time, that's what interests me, and that's why we have so many different types of companies on our ICO spotlights, which is one episode a week, and we have 4 episodes a week, right? So one of the episodes is like sort of a bonus one where we cover all these various different ones, and there's so many industries that are being covered. banking is one of them. And, so when we're talking about regulations, as a U.S. citizen, I can go down to the local convenience store and I could spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on lottery tickets, right? But now in America, I can't go and spend $100 on something that I do due diligence on and want to invest in because I'm a high net worth individual, right?
But you
Maybe
can buy
I am
a
a high
weapon.
net worth. Yeah, I can go out and buy a weapon. Sure. Well, it's because that's in the Constitution, but ICOs aren't in the Constitution. But one thing that I think is we should be able to spend our money where we decide we want to spend our money, right? And if, Congress released their congressional 2018 report a couple weeks ago, and around at page 201, they go on for about 25 pages around blockchain, cryptocurrencies, regulations, where they think it should go, and I think it was very well written. Whoever wrote that section of the report was very well read. They understand the space, and they said, do not over-regulate this. If you do, innovation will leave America.
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And I think I know why people want to do it because of the safety of people not being deceived and stuff like that. But it has to have its, I don't know. That's the argumentation behind that, right?
Yeah, but see, that's so frustrating to me because basically what they're saying is you can't be trusted to make your own decisions. Here in the United States, we are guaranteed the right to life, to our personal liberty, and the right to pursue happiness. It doesn't say you have a right to be happy. Nobody can do that for you, but you have a right to pursue that with the life you have and the liberty you've been given. That means you have the right to screw up and to make mistakes and I don't know why we need a daddy. We're adults. We can go serve in the military, at a relatively young age. Yep. We get a driver's license at an even younger age, and we can vote. But we can't be trusted to make our own decisions. And so the goal for them is to protect those who are too weak to take care of themselves and do their own due diligence and make wise investments.
We're not smart enough, you guys. These American citizens are not smart enough to make decisions for themselves.
America.
You guys stop with them.
Well, that's the
spending
stereotype.
their money on these things.
That's not, talk to most people, ask people, hey, what percentage of Americans are stupid? And people will say, well, half of them. And they'll say, are you one of them? Well, no, nobody's ever one of them. 100% are not the stupid ones when you ask them.
No one ever complains about their intelligence, right? This is something everyone is happy with. That's for sure.
We need to protect people. And you know what? Life is hard, and you're not guaranteed that you're going to succeed at everything you do. And, in legitimate business, I've made stupid decisions that have cost me money, but they're my mistakes.
Yeah.
And I own them. And I don't see government coming along and protecting me because I made a bad hire in my business and the clown embezzled from me. I don't see the government coming in and saying, well, now that's a crime and I could take care of it, but there's other decisions I've made that they weren't crimes, they were just bad decisions, and I lost money. I don't need the government to protect me from that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think there should be maybe some regulations around it, but I think they need to be very, very careful because the reins too hard. I do think scammers, people who are blatantly trying to scam people, should be punished. But here's the thing. 9 out of every 10 startups fail. So these aren't necessarily scams. These are people who are trying to start a startup, and they're trying to they maybe the vulture capital route. I think vulture capital is worse for businesses because what ends up happening for these companies is the vulture capital comes in and owns 50-60% of their business, and then they don't even own their own business. This right here allows them to maintain 100% equity in their company. They're able to get the funding they need and creating a token apparatus that is built into the system, that is usable. Mm-hmm. It's basically able to take 2 or 3 years revenue up front. People who like the project and they vet it they do their due diligence. They say, hey, this is a good project. I'm willing to spend money on a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've purchased, I think 14 or 15 Kickstarters, and guess what? I haven't received 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Oh my God!
What a
All
surprise.
Kickstarters are scams. We should regulate Kickstarters.
Yeah, I agree. So, I'm sure you already mentioned how large your audience is. So many people come to your podcast for crypto-related news and advice and, to find out more about the crypto people and stuff like that. Where do you...
And Joel's dulcetones, his vocal tones, people come for those too.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, Travis. What? That's squeaky.
So, where do you guys go for a crypto news?
I go to Travis. Travis gives me all my news. He comes to me, and we swap news. There's sites, we'll look at CoinDesk, or we'll look at Cointelegraph or the Merkle. There's a number of sites we have bookmarked, and we keep our own. Yeah, Hacker Noon. We actually keep a flipboard of stories that we're considering for talking about on the show. We have an intern that adds them for us. We add them as well. It's at badco.in/flip. So if you want to see the things that we're coming upon and considering discussing on the show, we've got looks like 585 followers to our flipboard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you keep up? Because it seems like the pace is really fast. It's a roller coaster. Even while falling down the rabbit hole, the things we learn sometimes are not valid anymore in few weeks' time. How do you keep up with this pace? How do you make sure that you're updated and you know what's going on? Because it seems like it's, the pace is terribly high. It's very fast.
Well, it's a matter of filtering the signal from the noise, right? If you're in social media at all, you have your Twitter channels, your Reddit and Telegrams and all this stuff. You have to be effective at being able to filter. And so, there's a few places that I will go, a few subreddits that I will go. I just kind of glance at them and take a look. Is there something interesting? Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to read through that. I'm going to save that on the Flipboard. I'll go through and, so I think Joel and I, having been in marketing and with social media for, the past decade plus, we have a lot of tools. We have a lot of different processes and strategies to be able to surface and curate content. We're able to find the best content, and we're able to reach out to the best content creators and the thought leaders in the space and have them on the show. And so I think that we don't necessarily always have to be the quote-unquote expert about it because we're still learning and researching and figuring out because the space is changing so quickly. And so I think that's part of it is that we're willing to learn, and we're also willing to know that we don't know it all. And so, that gives us a little bit of vulnerability and gives us a little bit of leeway to be wrong occasionally.
Right, we're not the experts. In fact, we call ourselves the blockchain blockheads, the crypto clowns. Travis coined the term crypto medians because our show is, it's entertainment, but it's entertainment about the crypto space. This is, most other shows you're not going to see discussions of stories about using excess mining heat to grow produce, cryptomatoes. But that for us, that's gold. That's pure comedy gold. And, while others are busy speculating about the price of Bitcoin, we'd much rather find the stories that are entertaining around the space because I think people listen to us because they are entertained. Do we use you? And we're passionate about a subject that's interesting to them.
I agree because
we crack a lot of jokes. We crack so many jokes. And what's funny is that none of our jokes are premeditated. We never write any jokes ahead of time. The jokes just organically happen. And
that's
one of the things about
you can get a ticket for that, Travis. You can get pulled over for premeditated comedy.
That's horrible. And we always try to crack each other up, and there's so many times where our editor actually has to edit out some of the extra laughter because it was just too fun.
Well, I think that's the beauty of it, because most of the podcasts and most of the materials around crypto and blockchain are quite serious. It's about news, it's about technical analysis, it's about, the really techy stuff. So I think...
We're not that.
Yeah, so anyone who can translate the techy stuff into human language and put a little bit of real life into it, then, then that's when the beauty comes in. So, I mean, both of you have been very successful even before you got into crypto and even before you launched your about crypto podcast. So getting into this field, what did crypto and blockchain interest of yours bring into your lives and changed it? How did it change?
Well, I've gotten an inch. My voice is even better than it was before, and I now hold some coins that I don't know why I hold. I'm having fun. I'm fascinated by it all. And Travis, I mean, we're kind of like married work partners now, because we talk to each other every day. We're just today alone, we're doing this interview with you, but I think we've got 4 or 5 other calls and interviews we're doing to collect content with people who are going to be on our show. And so it's a regular thing. And now that we're going to events more and more, we're having a blast, because we've done Bad Crypto Live 4 times now. Mm-hmm. We've realized that we have a show that can be translated to the stage and made more interactive for the audience. And those who listen to the podcast, you're hearing those live episodes, because we give those to Aaron, our producer, and he edits them and puts the music in, and we release those as episodes. And we're, being asked to MC events, and we're going to probably be doing our own event. Bad CryptoCon is going to take place in summer. In fact, we should be announcing dates, hopefully next week on the podcast. But those of you that are ready for a crypto event unlike any other, we think it's going to sell out super fast. Bad CryptoCon is coming.
Okay, you heard it first on the Crypto Talks podcast.
Yeah, I would say, what has it meant to me? It has meant Lambos and moons.
Oh, yeah, exactly. One Lambo and one moon. So apparently you've got it already all in.
I've got 7 Lambos now. It's just unbelievable. I have a fleet of them on the way. No. Actually, John McAfee said, I had a Lambo. It was the most uncomfortable GD car I've ever sat in.
He said a lot of things.
Okay.
He said a lot of cuss words.
In that case, let's wrap it up with the last question, which is, obviously, I mean, you already mentioned that Lambo is not what you are going for and waiting for. What is it? Like, what is your ultimate success thing? Like, whether it's a thing or an experience, or what will make you say, okay, now I'm really successful?
That's not on my radar at all. I feel like accomplishment-wise, from the world's eyes, I've done those things. I've made millions. I've also lost millions. I'm good at both of them. I've written books. I've had a bestseller. I've had a #1 iPhone app. I sold a site to Yahoo years ago. Blah 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 blah. Other people, they're not really all that impressive to me anymore. They're just part of the history of what I've done. I'm just thrilled that the show resonates with people, and that opportunities to do interesting and impactful things continue to open up. That, to me, it's not about a destination. It is truly about a journey where I'm concerned in my life right now.
Okay.
Life's a journey, not a destination.
Don't stop believing. Journey.
So I would say I would resonate with that, because really it's all about the journey. We're having fun. One of the things I think that we're here for, though, is to impact the world in a positive way. And as the crypto market rebounds, hopefully, and keeps growing, we'd love to help have influenced many people to become financially successful on their own. I mean, to me, I think that would be one of the greatest things, because it's really not about us. It's about our audience. It's about those who we impact on a day-to-day basis, and, put a dent in the universe. Like, as Joel always says, even the sign back behind him, do good stuff. And, if you do that, help make the world a better place, help others get what they want. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a miraculous thing, is that you get what you want when you help a whole lot of other people get what they want.
Thank you, Mr. Ziegler.
Yeah, the blessings keep flowing.
Okay, so I guess the success secret of the Bad Crypto podcast is exactly those two answers of yours. Because, you know, you're not doing it for Lambo, you're doing it for the audience, and you're just having fun, and it's genuine and authentic, so that is what resonates with people. So...
and we get to talk to so many amazing, brilliant people. I mean, you know what? I mean, like, when every day you're surrounded by people who are smarter than you in areas that you're not smarter than, you grow.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's one of the things for me is like, you know, I had my first podcast back in 2006. It was called Cultivate Greatness. And it was like a leadership training and personal development site. I was interviewing all these amazing authors and, you know, thought leaders and speakers. And it was like, man, the more good stuff you put in, the more good stuff comes out. And so I've always been a lifelong learner. And so, and I like to surround myself with the right kinds of people. I tell my kids this. It's like, if you want to fly with the eagles, you can't be hanging out with the turkeys, right?
That's true. That's true.
If you're hanging out with the turds, they're going to try to bring you in the toilet with them. So you better flush them before they pull you in the toilet. And so, you know, so you become who you hang around. And with Joel and I, we have this blessed opportunity to talk to some of the brightest minds that are doing some of the most amazing things. And every day is a cool, fun blessing.
Yeah, well, I mean, thank you very much for coming over. I totally respect your time. I know that you have another thing to record later on in a few minutes. So thanks a lot for coming over. I really enjoyed talking to you. I hope it wasn't the last time. So we'll stay in touch. I enjoy your podcast, your mastermind. So we'll definitely not be lost. And thanks a lot for doing this for my audience.
Stay bad.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye-bye.